So today was the first update of the Astalgia summer update, and there's many things that we have to talk about here. I've got 3 monitors, and my chat is on the top one. The first thing is they've had a battle pass. Yay! So there's a bunch of different missions to get with the battle pass, and you get different rewards for buying it and completing it. We're gonna go through the super gist of things. Second of all, they've added a brand new prologue for the game, so we might create a character just to check out that prologue. Very interested to see what that will look like. They removed the rabbit headband that you get from it, and then you get goggles. The Adventurer's Path. Okay, so when you jump, or a character jump now you actually have to go through bits and pieces of the story. As in, you have to contextually see some of the story, and at least you get stuff for it. This is the training room before, except now, instead of just being in the generic chaos dungeon room, you're actually in like a little training garden with Shandy, and it's to teach you the basics of the game. The rat guy. Goodness. They added a robot inside the expedition territory, and through this robot, apparently you can go through the story through alts automatically. I heard the cost of doing this is quite bad, so we'll go check it out, but I'm a little skeptical on this one. This is the event island, so we will check that out. It's somewhere in the eastern part of Lutheran, and yeah, we will. Okay, so after we visit it once, we could use the liner and cookie. Bunch of event things, and the event currency can be obtained from all sorts of contents in the game. Chaos Dungeon, Guardian Raid, Abyss Dungeon, Abyss Raid. So they have a couple of jumping events ongoing right now. There's the jumping ticket event and the Hyper Express. Hyper Express could be set to a character that's under 14-15, and as they reach certain item levels, they get pretty big rewards. We'll check out all the rewards once we actually visit the island, because it's not like I can hover over here right now. So yeah, we got Hyper Express that can be set to a character under 14-15, and then there's the Story Express to get to jump to 1302 while doing the story. That's like the super TLDR. And during the Story Express, you do a very abridged version of the story as you're jumping through it, and then you end up at 1302. This is the big thing that we need to talk about, and this is the subject of contention in regards to NA and EU, because there are many people who don't think that we're going to get this, but then there are people, including myself, that do believe that this will be there from the beginning in North America and Europe. So something of note is that the whole progression system has been changed altogether, in Tier 1 and Tier 2 specifically. Tier 3 is completely unaffected by this. Tier 1 and Tier 2, on the other hand, they're so different. They're so wildly different. We'll go over this in depth. Hello, June. No need wait. Express event gives 2 boosts. 1 right now. 1 more. 1 source release. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Thank you. We'll cover this later. There's a lot in this section. So we will have to go over it bit by bit later. Growth support. This is kind of just it's all the catch-up stuff that are used to assist with players. So most of this is Fairly unimportant to NA and EU, but for Korea, once you reach certain item levels, there are benefits in accordance to helping you raise your item level more quickly. The life reorganization stuff is pretty cool. They've streamlined a lot of the profession things, changed a bunch of recipes, and consolidated many things. Is that update better or worse for regression? Way better. But we will go over it one by one. I'm giving you guys the very abridged right now, but these details are super nuanced. This is about the private island stuff, new recipes and changes to recipes, and I'm a little annoyed by some of these changes because some of these changes for really important crafts, I may or may not have yeeted the items out of my inventory, and it would have been really nice if I held on to them. It would have been nice if I held on to fish and all that crap to craft those upgrading stones. But as they say, hindsight is 2020. Okay, so the daily events, they have been readjusted as well. I am not fully sure if it is as it says, and you could actually go to Chaos Gate and World Boss daily now, or I don't know what the deal is. I'm also not sure how many times you're... Okay, yeah, one. Never mind. My bad. There is now a DPS meter in the training room, which we will check out later as well. And now there's buttons not just to leave, but also to retry the current Guardian. The rewards as well for types of enemies and stuff like Chaos Dungeon have differed. We tested this earlier on the Blaster, and in general, it felt like more mobs were dropping items more frequently, meaning you get the feeling of items dropping a lot more and more. Do I have to finish Shushar owner to do the Rohendel Chaos Dungeon? You have to finish Rohendel to do the Rohendel Chaos Dungeon. It has a storyline completion requirement. They nerfed the amount of gold from Wells of Oreha, which was a very notable source of gold income for many people, because the expectation is that more people are going to reach 1370 to 1415. A bunch of miscellaneous changes here in the reorganization. This is basically PoE stash tabs, and we've been given it for free, and because of that, a ton of my inventory space has been freed up. We'll go into that later. The types of rewards for Adventure Island have been adjusted, and the types of islands that are dynamic islands versus non-dynamic islands have been adjusted as well. The balance of harmony has been changed in quite a few contents so that skill runes can be used in them. And also the Book of Coordination has been adjusted for high-end raid encounters, including Bolton, which we shall be trying out in a few hours with the new Book of Coordination. Some quests have been adjusted, and I don't know these quests by name anyways, so I don't know how many of them are relevant. With tier 1 and tier 2 gear, you no longer have to manage your tripods, and now that's a tier 3 thing. And Mystic and Keister were straight up removed altogether. Mystic is no longer a tier 1 content. Keister is no longer a tier 2 content, and they'll be introduced at a later time in another form. Guilds got a quality of life overhaul, and now you can adjust and customize your banners more and do more interesting things with the banners for guilds, as well as some quality of life functions on there. There was class rebalancing, and it was surprising because we didn't expect it, but the class rebalance aimed towards PvP. The TLDR is that awakening skills can no longer be evaded by classes whose tripods had the evasion property or iframe property, where you can sometimes RNG avoid stuff during it. Berserker got a buff. Battlemaster got a slight buff. Oh, this got added in here. Lancemaster got a slight nerf. Infighter got a buff. Striker, this is PvP by the way. It's PvP specifically. Striker is a bit 50-50. Devil Hunter got a little bit of a nerf. Or, I mean, Perfect Shot is quite a bit of a nerf in general, but I mean, it's not so bad. Scout got a pretty big nerf overall. Cooldown changes are always a big deal to Scout. Gunslinger got a big nerf. Summoner got a nerf to the Phoenix damage. Bard, it's non-significant. It's just a pushback, so you're more likely to get knocked out of Oratorio now, but many of them don't use Oratorio in the first place. Blade saw a nerf as well. Destroyer saw a big PvE nerf. Basically what they did to Destroyer is you could no longer do the bonk build. And how they compensated people using the bonk build is they made it so that the bonk identity ability is a little bit better when the enemy isn't neutralized or isn't impaired. So it's a pretty big damage difference. Instead of 200% additional damage while the enemy is in an impaired state, it's now only 30%. In return now, with a high level tripod, they will do up to 20% increased damage to enemies, and the critical rate, instead of only going up by 10%, it can go up to 30%. But yeah, so in general, with their engraving, they went from 200% and 10% extra crit chance to 50% and 30% extra crit chance. They added a bunch of stuff to dying options, UI improvements, including tutorial videos, which should essentially assist people with learning how certain systems work. One sec. Let's see. A bunch of quests have changed because of the item level restructuring as far as progression goes. Some transaction limit was made to engraving books, so that once you buy an engraving book from the auction house, you can no longer flip it. It becomes bound to you. Let's see. Oh, an increase to the acquisition of masterpieces, giants' hearts, and great voyages. That's kind of cool. I actually didn't even notice that before. You had to be... Oh, cool. I actually, I never realized this, but I guess you can join PvP under 50. That's always been a thing, but I just never realized it because it's so weird to think of going to PvP prior to 50 to begin with. So you put the engraving. If you loot it, you can list it. If you buy it, you cannot relist it. Oh my god. They added this. This wasn't in the patch notes when the server went live. The AP gate has been removed. The AP gate is gone. That is so big. That is so big. That was the bullshit system that was never explained in game that reduced your damage in the dumbest way possible. And it being removed is such a boon, because now people are no longer penalized for having no idea what the hell they're doing. The AP cut mechanic. So with the AP cut mechanic, if you didn't meet the AP gate, the arbitrary AP gate for each content, there was a drastic cut in your damage, and this was never explained in the game. It was never ever explained in the game, and it is gone now. They have removed it for Tier 1 and Tier 2 contents. It was already removed from South Vern and onwards, but now it's gone from all content, which is massive. That's super important. Okay, cool. Skill presets can now save awakening skills, which is great, which I do appreciate that quite a bit. This was also a very nice change. Basically, during certain fights, you had to turn skill effects of allies on, or else you couldn't see what was going on. They made it now that even if you're hiding allied skill effects, you can see these specific mechanics, which means that now when I go to Vaulton, I could always have skill effects turned off, and I won't be penalized for it anymore. Some quality of life on the alarms. Photosensitivity mode what I've been complaining about for over since NA and EU beta is now in. So photosensitivity mode, no more glowing bosses in KR. Very nice. I like it. As well as a bunch of color filters for people who want to see the game in a slightly different coloration, which is also pretty cool. They are now offering boosts up to Papunica, which will park you at the start of item level 1302. And they have updated Marie's Secret Shop, and they're calling it Marie's Secret Shop Season 3, which is... why did they have to start... Why did they have to use the word season for literally everything? Why does everything have its own seasons? That's confusing. That just makes things confusing. They have increased the capacity of all servers because most of the servers you couldn't even create characters on because they were overloaded. Let's see. And that is most of the important things. Yeah, yo.